There are ancient legends across many cultures that tell of a demon or deity that feed on the blood of the living. These tales, with the belief that the dead could rise again, gave way to one of our most well-known monsters, a being so powerful and charismatic that you could easily become their next meal. This monster's complexity has inspired media for centuries, and will continue as humans remain under the trance of vampires.
Welcome to 13 Degrees of Screams,
where we watch and dissect your favorite spooky movies.
I'm your host, Alex.
And Stephanie.
And this is a mostly horror podcast.
Each season we will rank 13 movies on a scariness scale from, you guessed it, 1 to 13.
We will uncover the real-life myths and legends that inspire these movies, and tell you just how authentic they are.
This week we hide from bloodthirsty vampires in 30 Days of Night.
So, Stephanie.
Yes.
Have you seen 30 Days of Night before we watched it for the podcast?
I hadn't.
And you were not happy about it.
I didn't like it, no.
Not even a little bit?
It's fine, but it's hard to root for anybody. I was like, you all dumb.
Oh my god.
You all dumb.
No, Stephanie.
You all so dumb.
I mean, yeah, but, like, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah, it is. This is not an opinion. Okay.
Wasn't that fun? And they are not very bright.
No, but, like, they're not... Okay, here's the thing. I like movies where people are trapped in one location and it's being overrun by something. So I have a bias towards that. You were 100% right. They are really dumb. But, like, you don't even have fun watching them die. Like, that's half the fun. Is the kills, you know? Like, these are all just fodder for slaughter.
I guess.
Right?
Guess. I don't know. They draw out the deaths, which is
good.
Different.
It's different.
A choice.
Yeah. But, these vampires are pretty brutal.
Yeah, for sure.
You're just so unimpressed by all this. Okay.
I mean, the vampires are fine. Like, nothing to write home about, you know? They come, they see, they conquer. Like,
and then they leave.
And then they go, yeah.
Okay.
And then the people around them are dumb.
True. But you gotta admit the concept's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like, the whole, like, that place is real, and they really do have that much... They actually have more than 30 Days of Darkness. It's like
really?
60 days.
Do you know if their kids go to school and they continue, like, business as normal? Like,
yeah,
obviously they can't export or import anything.
Yeah.
I guess, but...
I was looking into the town. It's not called Barrow anymore. It's something else.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to pronounce it, because I can't.
Right, exactly.
It's like Yatik.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Another word that we can't say, and I'm not trying to be offensive.
Yeah.
So, they actually have more, I think, darkness, or something like that, but I think the concept's really cool, because, like, that's going to be the greatest place for a vampire to be.
Right.
Like, so, at least the concept.
Yeah. I mean, the way that they were, like, battening down the hatches and stuff in the very beginning, I thought maybe, like, everyone was just like, you know, don't talk to me for 30 days, basically, I'll be home.
Right.
But it seems like they're still carrying out business as normal. They're just not getting anything in or out.
Oh, yeah, no, they still have to live their life.
Yeah.
But
which I guess so.
Question, do you think you could live in a place like that has, like, 30 days of night?
I mean, I'm awake at night most of the time.
You wouldn't sleep.
Probably not.
You'd
no.
be the vampire.
Maybe I'd finally readjust my sleeping pattern.
You think so?
If I just had 30 days of the night to figure it out.
On day 29, you'd finally get it.
Yeah. They'd just ruin it all over again.
That's fair.
Every year. Reset.
See, I don't know if I could, because when it gets dark during the winter, like at 5 o'clock, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. But however, since they have the nighttime, in the summer, they get the basically 30 days of constant sun.
Yeah.
That is what I want in my
Yeah.
life. No dark, sun forever.
I've always wanted to visit Alaska, like, in their summer or whatever, their warmer season.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be pretty.
Yeah, I've seen those videos where it's like 3 a.m. and it's still bright. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
lovely.
That would be nice.
Love that for me, but I don't know if I could deal with the downtime.
Also, in the snow, like,
No.
Like, I like dark in the summer,
Yeah, I'll take that.
but not in the snow.
Too much snow.
Especially if you're expected to do shit. Like, if you're not... Yeah, like...
You're expected to live? Is that why you're asking? Do they just, like,
do
hibernate? So.
Because I'd like to catch up on some sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fine if I wasn't expected of anything.
I guess if I could just sleep through it. But that's like, so much time.
It is.
Uh-oh.
You're so ahead on everything.
Where did you rank this movie?
Oh, 13. 13.
13. Are you awake?
Yeah.
Stephanie is just so over this movie. She doesn't even want to talk about it.
No, I ranked it as a 13. I didn't know anything about it going in. I was just probably copying you.
Yeah. Do you agree with the 13 so far?
I mean, it is pretty gory, honestly, considering what we've seen.
Yeah.
Does anything you think rival it?
Well, so when I was coming up with this ranking, I put it at 13 because I knew it was going to be like the most brutal of the movies, especially so far. So like they had to account for something. So they're scary in that aspect. Like I would not want to be caught by these guys at all. Yeah, I mean, it has some scary moments, definitely. Out of all the other movies, I still think it's the scariest.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on if you like. When we talk about Let Me In, that could be scary in a more realistic, everyday core type situation.
Right. The suspense of it too. Yeah.
This is just like
brutal. Yeah, and they torture people.
Yeah. So it's scary in the aspect. Like I would not want. They play with the food too at some points.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it, but I think I would still keep it at 13 for now.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, it's just more bloody than anything else.
Right.
So
I mean, some of them are a little creepy. Like the one that's like a sickly looking Adam Driver is kind of
sickly
strange.
Looking Adam Driver. I see what you're saying, and I know who you're talking about
exactly.
now that you're the tall one with the...
Yeah, real lanky. Like, I don't know if it's the night or the makeup or something, but some of their faces just look like pin straight. Like no, like...
They look...
How faces are round? Not that. Like...
You know the shape round? Not the opposite.
Not them.
Not them.
Most of them are just like beings existing on necks.
Yeah, they have a very interesting look to them. They look almost alien in a way.
The one girl does too. The
Yeah.
one that's sort of with the guy that's in charge.
I don't want to say they look beautiful because that's not the word.
No.
They look unique.
Yeah.
And like you kind of like when you first glance at them, they're just wrong enough. You're like, what the hell? Like, what's wrong with your face?
Right.
That you kind of keep looking. So I appreciate the look of the vampires, especially their teeth. They have like a million like sharp needle teeth.
Yeah, those are.
So,
and when you see them like use them, it's a dog with a bone kind of thing. That's like aggressive.
And I would say they're probably one of the more intimidating vampires. Like,
I wouldn't want to see a group of those guys.
Oh hell no.
Ah.
So overall, I think the 13 stands, and I think they're creepy. They're definitely creepy.
Sure.
Are you ready to go into some movie background?
Yes. Tell me.
Right.
Tell me.
I will tell you. 30 Days a Night is a 2007 horror film directed by David Slade and starring Josh Hartnett. Whatever happened to Josh Hartnett?
Who is that?
He was like big in the 90s and stuff. Like he was in Pearl Harbor, The Faculty.
Never saw that.
The Faculty?
Nope.
Well, we're doing it on the Alien season,
Okay.
so it is one of the best.
Halloween
H2O, bunch of stuff. 40 Days and 40 Nights.
I see why, because these are all things that I would have avoided as a child.
Really?
Most of them, yeah. The scaries.
Oh, well, yeah, the scariest, but he was in a ton of stuff. Anyways, he was real big during that time period, early 2000s, 90s area. But anyways, whatever happened to him. Faculty's good. We're going to watch that for Aliens. Anyways, also stars Melissa George and Danny Huston. Houston? I think that's pronounced Houston. Huston. Audience, you decide. The film is based on the comic book series by the same name by Stephen Niles and Ben Templesmith. The plot revolves around a group of people trapped in a remote Alaskan town during a winter solstice where they must fight for survival against the horde of bloodthirsty vampires. The film takes place in an isolated and frigid landscape, which creates a sense of claustrophobia as the characters are unable to escape the threat posed by the vampires. The film's visual style is also effective with the use of muted colors and stark contrast, adding to this film's sense of dread. Do I need to say it again? Very blue.
Of course.
Fucking blue. Blue and
white.
cold.
Blue and white and cold.
Again, more damn snow. The film's portrayal of the vampires is also noteworthy. Rather than being depicted as charming or seductive, the vampires in 30 Days of Night are portrayed as savage and animalistic, making them all the more terrifying.
That reminds me, too, when we were watching it, Charlie hadn't seen it either, and he was like, kind of wanted them to come out of the snow and be like, hello, we are vampires.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my god, just imagine the vampires from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
But like 30 of them.
Yes.
Like, coming out. That would be funny. They should do a parody of that.
Yes.
Honestly.
That would be fun.
30 Days of Night explores themes related to survival and sacrifice. The characters in the film are forced to confront their own mortality and make difficult choices in order to stay alive. They fail really bad. The film also examines the relationships between characters, with tensions building as they struggle to survive together. 30 Days of Night received mixed reviews from critics, with some praising the film's atmosphere and performances, while others criticized its pacing and storyline. The film was a moderate success at the box office, grossing over $75 million worldwide on a budget of $30 million. The film also spawned a sequel, 30 Days of Night, Dark Days, which was released direct-to-video in 2010. To coincide with the film's release, a novelization by Tim Levin was produced by Pocket Star on September 25th, 2007. And I say that only because it is one of 6 novels that were spawned from it. So somehow this spawned more. And I don't know how long the comic series went.
Yeah.
But like 6 novels?
Right.
Why?
You had that much to say? I'm sorry.
Somebody's like, fuck this movie. Fuck your vampires. Fuck these things.
I mean, like, I guess maybe if they found some more interesting people.
Yeah, I wonder. I kind of want to look into the comic and see if that's any better, because I really do like the premise. It was just the execution and what happened was like.
I think they were also a little too obvious with things that would happen, like the main character with his inhaler. I was like, oh, that's going to be a thing. Mm-hmm. And then the moving gears, I was like, someone's going to get thrown in there.
Yeah, well, the problem is you should, in filmmaking, like, introduce those things.
I get
it's a little heavy-handed, I get. But because it would be weird for that just to show up at the end. Like, oh, here's this meat grinder, basically. By the way.
I guess. Yeah.
It's like you show the gun.
Yeah, I know. If
you
show the gun, you have to have it go off. It was just heavy-handed. There was one person that I called, like, Liability Isaac.
Liability Isaac? Who was that?
The old man.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, the one that kept like,
Helen! Like, Helen's been dead for 20 years, Isaac. Please stop screaming. Like,
yeah. See, I didn't even know his name. I know Eben and Stella.
Jake.
Stella and
Jake.
Jake.
Brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you ready to dive into the plot?
Yeah.
She's like, fuck no!
So, obviously, this takes place in Barrow, Alaska, and the town is preparing for its annual period of 30 Days of Night, where the winter goes into like a month-long polar night. So nothing gets in, nothing gets out. So no exportation, no importation.
I feel like they still could have done some stuff.
I feel like they could. I mean, there was like one bad storm, I feel like, during that 30 days, but otherwise it was just nighttime.
Right, and it was just normal cold. Like, you're in Alaska, that's just how it be.
It must be like the worst of it, or like in the negatives or something. Yeah. Maybe that's why.
They just assume, like, don't even bother.
Yeah. So the town gets ready for this, so we see a police officer, or police sheriff named Eben, and his partner, I believe his name is Billy.
Yes.
So they're, like, battening down the hatches and everything, like moving signs and setting up. They also find a bunch of destroyed cell phones in, like, a little pile on the floor, and they're like, must be teenagers, but then there's no fuck you sign, and they're like, what do you mean?
Yeah, teenagers, that's just what they do on the weekends. Destroy cell phones.
Destroying cell phones right before a 30-day blackout.
Right, that's the thing to do.
Yeah.
It's a tradition.
Right. Anyway, as this is all happening, we see a stranger come from ashore, this large ship, and he sabotages the town's communication and basically does everything he can to cut off power to the outside.
Mm-hmm. Like, well, sir?
And he's just called the stranger.
Yeah, no name.
No stranger.
Which, you don't need to know his name. He's a piece of shit.
And we also see that Borough Sheriff Eben, which we already mentioned, was doing the stuff with his partner Billy. He also learns that his estranged wife was in town. She is a marshal, or is that what they called her? Something.
I don't even know why she was there.
I guess she has to go to like multiple cities throughout Alaska, but
okay. I was like, why are you here? I don't even know.
She was there, and he was like, didn't even come to say hi. Like, no. She's been estranged, so they need to talk, but yeah.
She's like, no, I don't like you. She's like,
nah, I gotta get back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she asked for a ride because she was almost hit by a fucking plow, like, and killed. I was like, first step? It's just gonna be human error? Like,
I mean, it's realistic.
Yeah. In the dark, I guess. Yeah, a man almost hits her with a plow while she's trying to get to the airport before she's stuck there for the 30 days.
Yeah.
But her car's broken down, so she calls Eben to tell him that she needs a ride to the airport. But Eben can't because he needs to check out a sled dog situation, and he sends his partner to go and try to take her to the airport.
Yeah, the situation being
that all of these poor puppies, which I can't believe they showed the bodies. That's not okay.
Right.
Were, like, split apart.
They were alive and then they weren't.
Yeah. As soon as we saw them, Charlie's like, look it up on that website. And I was like, I can't even look it up. They're already dead.
It happens quick, at least.
Yeah.
This is the second movie we covered this season where the dog freaking dies.
Again, this is why it's a terrible movie.
That is fair.
Too many puppies are dead.
Too many.
So somebody has killed off all the dogs in the town, basically. Or all the sled dogs.
I wonder who it was.
Right. Also, Eben and Stella end up meeting up at the diner because this stranger that's come to town is there demanding alcohol or raw meat. Raw meat and alcohol. And he's kind of creepy. Like, his teeth don't look good. Like, he's been through it.
Yeah.
And apparently the town is dry during the 30 days because Lady makes a good point. Like, everyone's already having a hard enough time seeing in the dark. That's why we're not giving out booze. And he gets upset and tries to, like, attack the waitstaff. So Eben is just magically there. These transitions for how they are in places, I can't tell you.
Yeah, I will say, at one point, there was a character doing a thing somewhere.
And then he was doing something there.
And then he was somewhere else in the process of dying. Like, yeah. I'm like, I can't remember specifically who it was. But, like, the scene, he was doing something, and it literally cut to him dying.
Yeah.
Being attacked. I'm like, wait, what? Is that him? Yeah, they did a really bad job spatially in this movie.
These cuts and, like, why they're going to certain places don't make any sense.
Yes, I will definitely say.
So, Eben ends up being in the diner at the same time as his estranged wife, Stella. He arrests the stranger, but the stranger was about to attack him, and Stella just appears also out of nowhere and puts a gun to the stranger's head. So they arrest him together. Also, I was like, this is why the whole town won't stop bothering you, Stella, about, like, what happened to your relationship, because you're literally talking about your marriage in front of everybody as you arrest this man.
Yeah. This town is, like, maybe, like, 50 people.
Yeah, and everyone's like, Stella, you can stay with us, just tell us what happened.
Yeah. They want the tea. In Barrow, Alaska, we spill it all. Real Housewives of Barrow, Alaska. Right. That's what this is.
I just picture a bunch of polar bears on the stage.
Like,
what happened, Stella?
You know how, like, you know that show, like, Real Housewives, where they do the little intros?
Yeah.
There's just bears going, and Stella.
And Stella. Just be
6
like,
bears and Stella.
I don't feel like telling anybody.
Stop it.
So they take him into the station, which is where his younger brother, Jake, and their grandmother are. I guess their grandmother works there as, like, a receptionist.
Yeah.
It's just them.
It's just a family thing.
I guess so.
What is Jake doing? He's just there.
Jake's just playing a game or something. We don't know.
He's like 15, but he looks older than that.
Yeah. So Stella's kind of like, I don't know where I'm going to stay. I guess I'm going to stay with your partner, Billy. He offered, he has a family across the street I can stay with. But then the power goes out, and it turns out that night, a band of vampires led by this man named Marlowe, which is also a vampire, which we never formally get introduced to. They're just like, his name is Marlowe.
Yeah, that's fine. You still need to know that, but that's the name.
So they attack most of the townspeople, forcing Eben, Stella, and Jake, and several other survivors to take shelter in this abandoned house's attic.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, immediately, as soon as they get there, which the days go by quickly, so it could be a couple of days later, honestly, but it all seems like it's happening at one night.
It's, well, yeah.
Because there's no indicator of change.
Well, they do show, like, what day it is in the corner.
Yeah.
But, like, it'll be...
It's like 7 days, 18 days, last day.
You know how I kind of could tell when the days were?
How?
Fucking Eben's facial hair.
Oh,
they did at least do that. He was growing facial hair throughout the movie. I'm like, okay, great. But, like, if you didn't have that, and, like, obviously the day, it would say, like, you'd have no idea. Which, I can't really fault the movie, because, like, that's probably what it felt like.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, like,
right.
What day is it?
This is true.
So, I'm not going to say that their lack of, you know, being able to tell when things and where they are was purposeful. But it makes sense because you would have a hard time knowing what day it is and that kind of thing.
Right.
Doesn't help the transitions, but, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows? They were in the attic for like a week.
Either way, it seems like the night that they just got there, immediately one of these men, I don't remember what his name is, he's just a random townsperson.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, we can make a run for it. And we're like, but we just got here. And we all agreed that this was the safest place to be.
Mm-hmm.
We can make a run for it. Like, no.
At some point, you're going to have to.
Bro, no.
Food and whatnot.
Well, the reason they choose this attic, though, is because they say that there's a pull ladder in the ceiling that's not visible to the naked eye. So that's why they're all hiding up in there. And one of the dudes in the attic gets nervous and wants to run as soon as they find out that one of the neighbors' houses is being ransacked.
Yeah, I mean, fair.
I mean, I guess so. But, I mean, if you have no other noticeable hiding spaces, or, well, unnoticeable.
Yeah.
hiding places in mind, also they're right next door.
Right, they're gonna see you running.
Yeah, they're gonna see 7 people running.
Yeah. And it's like one of those things like a fight or flight. Like, I'm sure he felt like stupid decision, obviously, but he probably figured if they come into the house, they're gonna find us. Also, so the windows are kind of like covered by like paper or something, but they have a light on the whole time. Like, the light is showing through.
Right, there's no way.
Like, they know you're there.
Yeah.
Like, that was like, and then several times they're like peeking through.
I know, like 3 of them. Like, not like just one person, just eyes, like 3 big heads.
If you're gonna do that, turn the lights off.
Right, I know.
You couldn't have the lights on, period. So yeah, that was real dumb. But
what I was saying, though, is...
Yeah, sorry.
They might as well have just, like, sat in the attic really quietly, let them ransack the house, not find them, and move on.
Right.
Because chances are, unless liability Isaac acts up, you should be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, I forgot to mention, too, because she's barely in it, the grandma is killed before they leave for the attic.
Rip Gma.
Also, the stranger gets shot in the shoulder because during the power outage, Eben tries to, like, you know, go and see if the townspeople are okay, make sure that they are in a place that has a generator because the power's out. And Grandma and Jake are just playing, I don't know, Sorry or something.
Something.
And he, like, throws, like, a little piece of the game at the stranger because he says, like, you're all gonna die anyway, you're not human. Like, I don't know, like, I don't talk to dead people. That was the thing he kept saying.
Yeah.
So he throws this piece of, this little board game piece at him, and he's like, thank you for the piece of plastique. I was like, what are you saying? And he's like, I can make it a key. And like, he barely reaches for it. And the boy goes sliding towards him. And of course the stranger's gonna fucking try to choke him.
Yeah.
So that's when Eben comes back and shoots him. And, you know, everyone's fine for for now.
Yeah.
They go to the attic. There's all that stuff. Grandma's dead.
Fuck Grandma, I guess. We don't really
Yeah,
care that
right.
she just died.
Yeah. So then we cut to back at the police station where they had left the stranger, and Marlowe, the lead vampire, finds him. The stranger thinks that he's doing this so that he can be one of them, apparently, and he'll be rewarded for this. But he thanks him for what he did and just bites him.
I think snaps his neck first, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, snaps his neck. Yeah.
Regardless, he's dead. Like, this dumbass, he thought, what, he wanted to be turned into one?
Right.
I'm like, they don't care.
No.
At all.
No.
How did you even... Okay, first of all, series of questions. How did the stranger know they were even coming? Did he, like, meet up with them? Like, hey, I'll help you out. Like, how did you come across these people? Because these vampires do not care. They will kill you
Are brutal. Yeah.
in 2 seconds. Like, how did this
Also,
happen?
every time we see them speak, it's like in another language.
Yeah, it's like a clicky...
How did they even communicate that to him? Like, assuming that they don't speak a ton of English. Like,
Right.
which I don't think they do. Otherwise, we would know.
Right. And the one time they say a few English words, but beyond that, it's just like this language, which they talk pretty frequently to each other, and not once do you ever know what they're saying.
Yeah, you're just like, I wish I knew what they were saying.
I guess it doesn't matter, because at the
Feels
end
like
of
I'm
the
watching
day...
a foreign film. Like,
Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, you get what they're gonna do, which is kill everyone. So it doesn't really matter.
I guess so. But at one point, too, like when they're peeking outside and giving their location away, it's obvious that they know that they're there because they find somebody in the town and use them as bait and ask them to, like, run down the street asking for help or something.
Yeah, well, I don't think they knew they were in there. They were just
Trying to lure them
the
out.
people that are hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that at this point? Is that where we're all
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, there's women's like screaming help, and then you see them like jumping on the roof,
Following
roof
her
to
on the
roof.
roof, yeah.
And motherfuckers. So they're smart,
Yeah,
but yeah, it was all a bait.
right. And she's killed off after she can't
Yeah.
get anybody out,
It's
even
like
though
a-
she's sad.
Yeah, she's like, I tried, man. Like,
I
they're
did
not.
what you asked. I'm sorry. There's
then-
nobody.
And then they killed him.
Yeah.
Killed her.
They took it out on her too. Like they
They were scratching
scratched
her
her.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently too, like their nails, I guess.
Yeah.
claws
Their fingernails.
claws can burn them, apparently
Oh,
too,
really?
if they get scratched.
Is that what happened?
The one guy does.
Oh.
Oh,
Well, damn.
we'll get to it.
Okay, well, good.
Sorry. So we cut to 18 days later, because this was like within the first 7 days, I guess, is what we were talking about. A blizzard hits, and I guess the group figures out somehow that the vampires aren't coming out in the whiteout, so they decide to go to a general store for supplies. But they're stranded there because the storm, like, promptly ends as soon as they get there.
They're like, I'm done. I gave you just enough time to
Yeah.
get to the store. You're welcome.
Right. But there is a little child mutilating and killing a man in there that is a vampire. She attacks one of them and scratches one of the guy's face.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
But they manage to kill her, Jake does, and he's upset about it because she was just a kid.
Yeah, she was like, I'm done playing with this one. I'm like,
That
oh.
was like the worst acting ever. Like, well, writing choices. She did fine, but
It was hokey, but I liked it. I
don't want to play with this one
I'm like,
anymore.
you know, I'm like, yeah, that was cheesy as fuck, but I'm here for it. I love camp. It's fine.
Eben decides to create a distraction and run to his grandmother's house, who happens to be, like, growing pot, like you do.
Yeah.
And she has lamps and stuff set up in her house, and he decides, like, he'll make a lot of noise and run over there so then everybody can run back to the attic or they go to the police station for some reason now.
Yeah, I don't know. They go to different places.
Different
before
hideouts where I'm like, what was wrong with the attic? Like,
I don't know. Well, they were trying to go to that last place. Whatever. I don't even know what that was called.
Utilidor?
Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck that is. But it has, like, everything you could imagine. Like, tool-wise. That's the place with the grinding thing.
Yeah.
It was very weird. I'm like, why are you going there?
Yeah, I don't know.
In any case.
So they're going to make a run for the police station while Eben goes and tries to distract them, and he figures he can fight them off with the ultraviolet lights that she has at her house. Interesting enough, the notes that are on Wikipedia that I'm using for reference says that when Marlowe's lover Iris.
Oh, her name's Iris.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I didn't know she was his lover. I mean, I guess you could insinuate. Attacks him. He burns her face with the light. It looks bad.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't blow up. She's, like, burnt. Like a lot of her...
Crunchy.
And she's alive. Like, she's still going through it. I'm like, that's brutal for them.
Yeah. And he has to kill her. Marlowe does. But he manages to escape. Meanwhile, a guy that's a snowplow operator, Bo, creates another distraction by driving this tractor through town, and I don't know what's at the end of it, but it cuts things.
Oh, yeah. It looks like a giant chainsaw.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah,
right?
It must be in a way. Yeah, it's like a snowplow with a chainsaw on it. And I don't know why, but he decides, you know, I'm doing so well with the snowplow, chasing them off and shooting them and hitting them with the snowplow. I'll just crash it into this building purposefully and, like, set this dynamite on fire to blow up as many as I can. It doesn't work. Not enough of them die. One. And then...
Your face, you're just, like, so disappointed. Like, it doesn't work. Dumb ass.
Well, like, he blows himself up. It's like a self-sacrificing moment.
Right.
He doesn't even kill himself in the process. He only maybe kills, like, one or two of them. And they surround him, and, like, Marlowe crushes his skull with his foot.
Yeah. The whole plan.
Not worth it. Like,
no. You were better off just mowing them down.
Mm-hmm. So then we cut back to them at the station. Eben arrives there. And they're like, well, now we're down to 6. And the one guy's like, turns out 5. I'm really thirsty.
He's like, guys,
it's not going well.
No, so he's turning.
Yeah. They found another person that was, like, hiding out under a building, they thought, for, like, the first week. But he was actually turned as well. I don't know. Some of them keep their humanity for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Where they can kind of control themselves.
Yeah.
But this guy was like, my family died in a car crash, and I just wanted to be with them, but I couldn't kill myself, so can you do it now?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well.
Yeah, and Evan's like, sure. Takes him in the back room, and then you hear a couple thuds, and he's not there anymore.
So nonchalant. Like, okay. So this guy's dead.
Yeah.
So, fun.
Yeah, so now it's just down to the 5 of them.
Yay. They're just people.
Yeah.
Like, we never even talked about who these people are. It doesn't matter.
Well, the only one that we hear about briefly is this liability Isaac guy. And he's only in the attic. But he is suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's, and he freaks out about, like, every 5 minutes and is like, Helen! Like, and, like, they have to tell him, you know, like, Helen's dead, you know, like, you're here with us and stuff like that. And basically, their whole survival relies on Isaac being quiet, so that's why I'm like, Isaac's a liability.
Right.
And he goes to the bathroom at one point, and they're waiting for him out in the hallway because he's not really supposed to be in there. They want to make sure he doesn't flush and make a lot more noise. They figure out it's been long enough. They open the door. He's escaped out the window. And then his son wants to go after him. Stella tries to stop him.
No, just go.
He hits Stella, which I'm like, you know, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, just go.
Go, you and your dad, goodbye.
Yeah, more or less.
And they die pretty much instantly, honestly. We never see Isaac again. We know that the son gets killed off going to look for him. Because he just runs out and starts yelling, Dad! Like,
Helen, Dad! Helen, Dad! Oh my god.
Like, in the middle of the road where they can all hear you. I'm like, Dad! Like, okay.
I guess at that point, it doesn't really matter unless you're quietly trying to find your dad.
I guess.
Whatever. In any case, they're dead.
Yeah, so like, so many people just kind of die off randomly. Finally, on day 27, Stella and Eben, I think they go back to the attic? Or is it, where are they at this point? Must be the police station. If they're still in the police station.
I think.
Yeah, it like I said, we jump from hideout to hideout where it doesn't make any sense. And why is this one safer than the other at this point? Eben and Stella see that his deputy, Billy, is signaling to him across the street. So they go over there to rescue him and his family, but it turns out Billy's like, I didn't want them to be killed in this awful way by the vampire, so I just did it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I get your point, but, like, you could have survived this.
Yeah. Eben's not thrilled. He's like, no, you don't do that to your family. But then they take him back to the police station anyway, and decide that they're gonna go to this place called the Utilidor. It's a power and sewage treatment station.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to look up what even the utilidor is. They're like, go there. I'm like, okay, why?
Right.
Why are we going here?
Yeah, I guess to try to get power. I don't know. You got 3 days left. You might as well just ride it out.
I know. And, like, you made it this far, and it doesn't seem like the vampires are actively patrolling all that much. They're kind of just hiding until someone comes out.
Yeah, they just know someone's going to have to come outside at one point because these people are dumb.
Yeah, you could have just stayed at the
attic. You could have stayed in the attic the whole 30 days.
Well, the attic makes sense because, like, if you need water and they didn't have water. Once they were at the store, they should have stayed there.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, let's go here. But what about here? What about let's create a distraction to go here?
Right. Ever thought about moving? Would you really like a 4-bedroom plan?
Yeah, it was towards the end. I was just like, where are they and why are they here?
Yeah. So they decide to go and try to power on a generator, I guess, at the utilidor. I think they think that if they can get some of the lights on, maybe that would burn them or something. I don't know. It's dumb. They can't do it.
In summation, idiots.
So they go in little groups, and somehow Stella is separated from them, and she saves this little girl that's just like walking around covered in blood. Her name is Gail, and I guess her family was slaughtered by a vampire, and she's just been kind of walking aimlessly around by herself. No one's killed her, and I was like, "There's no way this little kid isn't a vampire covered in blood."
Right.
I was like, you can't guarantee she's not been scratched or anything, but apparently she's fine.
Right. And none of the vampires finished her off while she was walking around. I'm like,
I guess it says one of them was stalking her, but I didn't really see that.
I didn't see it either, but okay. In any case.
Yeah, so meanwhile, Eben and Billy make it over to the utilidor, and they're attacked by a vampire there. Billy is bit in the neck, like, there's no way he's coming back from it either way, and they end up knocking the one vampire into the gears, the little grindy thing. Yeah, so that's fun. They did that.
And then Billy's arm.
Yeah, and I guess since he did that, Billy's arm got in the mix, so his arm's gone.
Oh, it's so bloody.
And he's just screaming. And I think the transition happens pretty quickly for them because he started screaming, but then it sounded like the screechiness that the vampires make.
Yeah.
So they killed him because he was signaling them, basically, and there's no reason to save him.
Right. Yeah. Your arm is hacked off, which you could live without your arm. However, you got that giant bite in your neck, so even if that wasn't a vampiric bite, there's no way you're coming back from that.
So the rest of the group make it there. They're kind of concerned about Stella. They haven't seen her, but she's been hiding under this car wreck with this child in the street for like the last day or so. Yeah. They should be dead, honestly. Again, from the cold.
Yeah.
So Evan decides that, they can't fight him as they are. So he'll just take some of Billy's blood and just inject himself with it and become a vampire so he can fight them all by himself.
He was so confident in this plan. Like, how would you know that would have worked?
You have no idea. Right.
I guess he was going for broke, and if it didn't work, it didn't work. But he was just like, yeah, let's do this.
Because he sees it as, like, no way out. So, like, oil was spilling into the street, so they set it on fire. So,
yeah, they were burning the town.
Yeah, so either Stella and the child would burn to death under this car, or, like, they'd come out and attack them.
Yeah.
So that was how he saw it. There was nothing more he could do. So...
Fair enough. Yeah, they did start burning the town, so there's they were trying to leave no traces, basically.
Right, so then they could do it next time for another city in Alaska, which I'm like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun, the little plan they have.
We're going to run out of towns eventually, man.
Yeah, right. So he turns pretty instantly. Everyone's kind of horrified by it, but they just like, good luck, Evan, bye.
Thanks for saving us.
So he confronts Marlowe. The other vampires don't fight him, and they don't use this opportunity to go after Stella and the girl as they escape. I'm like, there's so many of you. We can multitask. But no, they're just like, gotta watch Marlowe fight this dude.
Right.
And I'm like, do they think he's gonna become their leader if he wins?
That's what I thought. Like, once you kind of overthrow your leader.
Yeah.
I thought, like, Eben was gonna be their
leader and just walk off with them.
With that. But
no.
That's all.
So he kills him by punching a hole through his skull. And I was like, what just happened?
Yeah, Evan just punches Marlowe right through the head.
Yeah.
And he's dead.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
And then the other vampires just are like, well, I don't know. And just kind of leave town.
Yeah, they're like, okay, well, bye.
And by the way, Stella and Gale didn't really like escape. They were kind of just standing around watching, not really like escaping. So Stella, goes up to Evan and she's like, "What have you done? Why have you done this?" And he's like, eh.
As the sun's fucking...
Yeah, and the sun's about to rise finally, so she's like, we couldn't have waited.
Like 30 seconds, really?
Right. So they promised, they talked throughout a couple of scenes. Like, they haven't reconciled really shit, but they were like, we'll watch the sunrise after this is all over. I'm like, fuck you. So they go and watch the sunrise, and they kiss, which I'm like, don't kiss him.
You're going to turn into a vampire by accident.
Right. And she holds him in his arms as he burns to death. Like, I was like, what the fuck is happening?
I would have thrown him to the ground so fast and ran. Like,
right.
You are not... We're...
Like, I think I would have been more satisfied with that if she would have just been like, I'm sorry, I don't know why you did this to yourself, but...
Cold.
Gots to go.
Stephanie's ruthless. Thanks for saving me, but bye.
I mean, they were separated. The love was gone. We assume.
Not from Evan's perspective.
Well, yeah, but he's a dumbass. That's it. The sun rises, it's Alaska.
Stephanie's like, fuck this dude. Like, bye. Yeah, that was the end.
Yeah. Again, he just kind of deteriorates or whatever.
Yeah,
like, have you ever burned anything and it just turns like furniture and it turns white and black and all the weird grayish colors and stuff? He kind of turns into that.
Have you burned furniture?
Yeah.
That was very specific.
Not like on my property or anything. Just like, I grew up in the 6. We did these things. It's called a bonfire.
Oh, so you just threw furniture into fire?
You could throw junk in there and leaves and all kinds of shit. Yeah. It's like a junk burn.
Oh my god. I just imagine you throwing a couch. Here's my contribution.
I mean, a chair, maybe.
That's fair. Yeah. A charred piece of wood, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, basically.
And he's dead. The end!
And he's dead, yeah. And Jake promises to take care of Stella, I guess. Whatever a 15...
The kid?
Yeah, whatever a 15-year-old can do for Stella.
Okay, well...
She's probably going to be like, I'm still a marshal, I'm going to go.
Yeah, I'm going to leave with this girl I saved, I guess.
I guess.
There's no resolution. They just died and the movie is over.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I got nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're just over this.
Like, well, obviously everyone knows how I feel. How do you feel about it?
Again, much like Twilight, you know what you're getting yourself into. Again, I like movies where people are running from something and they're isolated and it's just like a fight for their life. Yeah, they make bad decisions and the spatial awareness is not great, but it's a silly time. I liked it.
Yeah.
I like it for the gore and the violence. And
I mean, I don't have any problem with the concept or anything. I think the concept's cool. I just wish the characters and the execution were a little better.
Yeah, for
to
sure.
root for.
Yeah, but
I even told Charlie at one point, I was like, why mention that they're even separated? It doesn't really make a difference to the story.
Yeah, well, I think that would... So, it doesn't, but I think they were trying to make it a more, like, heartbreaking or, like, personal thing where, like, oh, they're growing back together, and then it's going to be more heartbreaking when he dies. No. It didn't matter.
They talked, like, 5 times.
Right. And a lot of the people you're not meant to, like, get to know all that well because they're just going to die anyways.
Yeah.
And they're just a body count.
Right.
For this movie, which, that happens a lot in horror movies. So
that's fair, but I mean, at least some horror movies, I feel like they know that they're being like silly or whatever. I don't feel like this one did.
Yeah,
this one like felt like they were taking themselves super seriously.
For sure. Yeah. Did you like the way they handled the vampires in this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the vampires were interesting. Yeah,
best part of the movie, honestly.
I just wish we knew where they came from, all of this, why they're like, yeah, Alaska's the place to be.
Well,
like,
I don't. Well, we know why. Because they have 30 days a night, so they don't...
I guess.
They can just take over the town for 30 days and not have to worry about it.
Right.
That's why.
Yeah.
I don't know where they came from, but they do talk a weird language, which I did some reading, and that was just a completely made up thing.
Oh, okay.
But the reason it was all clicky is because they wanted it to be like more animalistic
Oh.
and that kind of a thing. But yeah, it's not based on anything.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, okay.
I know. When we were talking about, like, oh, what can we cover for this episode? We're like, the language, and it fell pretty flat. It's just, the whole concept was just, so the language was simplified to make the creatures more terrifying and, like I said, animalistic. So
Yeah, and I can't say really that they're much different in characteristics compared to any of the ones that we've covered. I would say only thing is just the fact that, like, basically any harm they do to you will cause you to turn, not just a bite.
Right. And they didn't need to be let in. They could just
waltz that's
right
also
on
true.
In.
Super fast like that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. They were definitely the most brutal in their kills and their ways and how they kind of just did their thing.
Yeah. I almost speculated at one point, I was like, are they just killing for sport, though?
They were messy.
Felt that way. Like, they were just letting certain people go, killing people, torturing certain people. Just seemed kind of like, are we just trying to kill because we're hungry or because it's fun?
Yeah, I think, first I think they were going to eat.
Yeah.
And then, they weren't going to let anyone live through this. So
it didn't really matter.
When they used that woman as bait, I mean, they weren't going to let her live anyway. So they were somewhat methodical in some things. And at the end, they were burning down the town. So you're going to die anyways.
Fair. They could have just waited it out, honestly.
Yeah, no, they could have.
Evan turning into a vampire was probably the worst part. I was like, why? Why would you do this?
Yeah, well, they had to have a plot, so they had to move around. They could have, you know what they could have done? Here we go, fixing the story. They could have had the vampires, like, burn down the buildings periodically throughout, and then they had to move because they were like...
That makes more sense,
they're gonna burn down our building, so we better sneak out.
Yeah, like they burn one street a day or something. Or
because then that way, them moving around made sense.
Yeah.
Not just like, let's go here because. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Also, I felt like it would be better sequel setup too if Evan just left with them.
The vampires?
Yeah, I think that would have been better.
They might as well.
What's the use?
Also, where did they go? Because the vampires left. And
but it's still fucking daytime.
Right, literally 5 minutes later. So where did they travel to in 5 minutes?
Hid in the snow.
Yeah, they're swimming through the snow. And for what it's worth, the daytime is going to be so short, anyways.
Yeah, maybe they arrived on that ship with the stranger. That's where they were.
See, now I'm more interested in how the stranger got in cahoots with these people.
Yeah.
These vampires.
I wonder that as
well. Prequel. We're not doing a sequel. We're doing a prequel.
Didn't he say he came from the other town, though? And he said that they left me or something.
Yeah. Yeah, so they were going through other towns. But I just don't know how the initial meeting went.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can I help you guys out? Right. I saw you on your blog.
I saw that you were coming for a tour.
Yeah. So, I don't know. But I'd be interested in that. Any final thoughts on 30 Days a Night?
Nope.
Somebody's like, don't watch this movie. I say it's worth a watch if you want some violence and just some stupid characters.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, giving us a 5-star rating is super helpful, and we will always appreciate it.
You can find us on social media at 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we will see you next sleep.